Welcome to tonight's late HP show. I figured a bit of a close-up so I don't look too yellow because the green and the lamp make a pretty color. And on that note, you have a 5D mystic enlightenment functional adult, and today we get to keep talking about the difference between when you're a 5D mystic and you're a channeler. And so the infinite sphere of consciousness and this relationship, because it's way different than the 4D mystics. And that is because a 5D mystic actually has a secure attachment. So they're able to have what is an integrated brain when they are actually channeling. So there's no out-of-body experience. The window of tolerance is not shot up in the roof, which is why we don't have clinical dissociation happening while we're channeling. And so like you learn from neuroscientists about when you're in the flow, they describe to you the parts of the brain that light up and what happens. And the four aspects are selflessness, timelessness. At that point, your body knows that there's no self and there's no time. So it actually goes into effortlessness mode, but this is where fear can come into the mix. And that's where some people that I know that are mystics, they don't handle this moment very well, and they go into spiritual bypass essentially. Instead, if you maintain groundedness, then you move to richness and you consistently understand how to actually experience not only the enlightenment vibration, which is an actual thing, that at least there's a scale. Obviously we don't go around proving it, but basically you're in your soothe system, and so you're in your mammalian heritage, which is a restorative embodied self. You know how to feel at ease, and this is where when you hear any spirituality guru talk to you about, oh, I feel so ooey gooey ooey inside, like wine in my body. I've heard said guru spell this one out, like, okay, it's the soothe system of a person and a flow state. So 5D mystic will know without yoga, although yoga does expand your awareness. So when I did do yoga, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I feel my light body more grounded. And like actually for me, what was funny was it grounded me more in like matter. And so like to the earth, it's something I don't really have to describe right now. But yeah, so my experience was, okay, it's interesting, it's cool, but I'm not like, whoa, but it did actually open up. For example, in one of the opportunities I had, I think it was Grace of Yoga, where we were appreciating the elements. And in this case, I was appreciating water. I started to cry, and I had a actually flashback to one of my way back when past lives. And I don't have to share that one either. But yes, when we have any of these experiences, we don't actually lose space or time. While my 4D mystic friends, when they come back from channeling or from mediumship or any of these that I've seen people talk about, they lose themselves. So they actually have what is, again, an out-of-body experience, which is that indication of their window of tolerance, and that's something that you can actually tend to with yoga. Yoga is a portfolio of ventral vagal nervous system toning exercises, and I learned this from Stephen Porges, the polyvagal theory doctor, who shares with us what our ventral vagal higher social engagement system is. And I have understood that I believe it's Buddhist psychologists that also talk to us about our reptilian and our mammalian nervous system. And it's not because you're reptiles people or that they're aliens. So 4D is all over storyland. We already know that. But let's get back to talking about a 5D mystics experience with channeling. Because see, whether it's mediumship, so a person that is a loved one who is coming through like automatic writing, or an Akashic record reading, or if you are doing any type of in-between communication, you do not lose the sense of yourself because you're grounded in your body. That's very important for me to note again. Window of welcome, it's called, for your emotional plane. And I am most likely a highly sensitive person, even though I haven't taken a test, but pretty much I feel when I'm around, for example, a bunch of children with their hyperactive nervous systems, it literally has taken me sometimes between 15 to 20 minutes to recalibrate my own nervous system. So I put into practice what I got to learn from actually Dr. Daniel, I believe J. Siegel. He's somebody who is awesome and a doctor. PhD physicist. I forget all his terms, attachment researcher, psychologist. I don't remember, Daniel, how to introduce you appropriately or properly, but look up Mindsight Institute, look up any of his lovely books. He shares with us the mind, the brain, and relationships, and he's awesome. And he's definitely enlightened, even though he may not use that word because he is a sciences person. And that's great to have him out there, unlike the ones who are ancient silverbacks and using actual biblical text to talk about attachment and or trauma. And they're using words like shadow and dark auras, and that's where, 4D mystics, they're talking about people as being poison when they're not. And that's really not nice, actually. It's quite not loving and not our mammalian heritage, which they don't know because they're usually going to be in the adaptive child mode of, I'm going to stand tall and proud and protect my side. And that's why adaptive children are run by their 3-year-old, but it's not a whole 3-year-old heart who's having fun with life, or a 0-1-year-old that has a person who owns their safe haven, secure base. So knowing how to self-regulate and to actually sit in what's called healthy self-worth, which any, like also Terry Real, will inform you, good therapists will inform you of what healthy self-worth is. It means you unconditionally love yourself, or Gabor Mate, you are lovingly accepting of yourself, you don't work for love, and you don't have shame in expressing any of those basic emotions, none of them. So like when I talk about my panic attacks, I'm not ashamed, I'm not agitated when somebody's like, oh, but your life, it's perfect, how do you have panic attacks? I actually laugh inside because I'm like, wow, that's a new one. Or how about that other one? Oh, you work at the computer too much. Oh, that's really great. Thanks for that one. So the smart people, which is healthy self-worth, when people don't understand our subjective experience, like mysticism too, your woo-woo pseudoscience, yes, I am. Technically, I am. It's okay. You can call me that. But, I mean, do you have to call me a name? Then again, that's what teenagers do. They call each other's names because they don't have high self-esteem. They don't have any self-esteem. That's the point. They don't have healthy self-worth, excuse me. You have self-esteem when you have healthy self-worth. It's called, yeah, I'm quirky, so what? Okay, on that note, as we go on, so our oversoul, it expands. And being a mystic is just the most awesome of all awesome experiences, twin flame and flames included. In fact, the only ones who are whining about twin flames, and now they're saying it's not a real deal, are the same people who created a saga. And really, they're just relationship coaches. So you might as well go to like an attachment coach or somebody who teaches you about trauma and helps you to get out of an insecure attachment. That can work, because really the twin flame and flames and oversoul, it's special. And on that note, as we close out our episode, when you're a channeler and you have this ability to be a 5D mystic, not a 4D, you don't think of the sphere of consciousness, Akash, as something that has to be an entity. You're able to move beyond spirituality by knowing you're not dismantling. I grew up with God and Jesus. I have not dismantled what my heart here felt. No, I have different words, and the neuroscience, good science community comes on board with us mystics and doesn't tease us because they're the smart people. They're not the ones who are teenagers who say, I know everything and mediums don't exist, for example. Now, when I saw that one, I was like, wow, that's not new. I know that one for real, but you know what I know is you're bullshitting me because you don't know everything and I know mediums. So, but that you don't believe in it, now that, I respect that because, hey, I don't believe in you. In fact, not even a little bit, zero, nada. Actually, the more you tell me you know everything, the more I'm like, wow, now that's an ego that has low self-esteem, doesn't know their right brain at all. Maybe they feel, I don't know. I actually try not to think about people who are not actually open to becoming their full 3-year-old heart because they're not fun to be around. So when we do meet people who are open to all that life is, that's when we have a lovely time. And they don't all have to be mystics, no. They're sciences people. In fact, they actually enjoy conversations with people such as myself. When we're channeling or mediumship or Akashic record or any of that which is actually something that is an honor, because it is a sphere of intelligence and energy. But when you're supporting another human being in what is something intimate, personal, and special, it's an honor in the sense of it touches you here because you can give to somebody something. People who don't use their clairs effectively, we will talk about that another time. But in the meantime, let's try and be compassionate and loving to spread secure attachment and integration of the brain and restored embodied self. Have a great one.